Senator from Charleston, Senator Kimpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple of weeks ago, I filed a bill in recognition that there were some public comments made by officials of the Republican Party to hijack and interfere with the Democratic Party primary. The bill said simply this: if you vote in this presidential primary, we being the Democrats, are the only ones to have a democratic process this year. For some reason, Pennsylvania Avenue sent instructions to the Republican Party to shut down the process so that they could have a coronation. And so, because they're going to have a coronation on the right side, we got groups conspiring on the Republican side to hijack and interfere with the Democratic Party election. And what they have publicly said, these groups, is that we are going to South Carolina, starting in the upstate to the low country, to vote for what we view, we're talking about the conservatives, Republicans, as the weakest candidate in the Democratic primary, and they have said that that is independent Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. And so they have said that the weakest candidate in the Democratic Party primary is Bernie Sanders, independent from Vermont. And so the bill, here's what the bill does. It will not create an open primary forever. But what it will do is those who in bad faith, Senator from Richland, want to hijack this process, you're going to be stuck with us when you do decide to have your democracy and have a free competition for your presidential nomination at a time where you want to vote in your Republican primary and open that process to the people. You're going to be stuck with us because you voted in the Democratic Party primary this time around. And this bill does not affect local elections, meaning in 2024, if somebody wanted to split their ticket, they're allowed to do so. This just freezes the presidential primary for 2024, just the presidential primary. And so in that regard, I've been talking to the chairman of Senate Judiciary, and he has not committed, but I asked him last night over a libation. I was having a libation. The color was brown. I asked him last night, would he consider granting a hearing for this bill so that we can have an examination of all these people who've been on national television from the Republican Party saying they're going to hijack the Democratic election. There's testimony that this is a conspiracy. There are emails, there are robocalls, there are voicemails. And so we want to flesh all this out so that we can have a hearing on the merits of the bill that I filed. I appreciate you giving me the time. We got
Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Martin, what purpose do you rise?
I wanted to see if my friend from Charleston would yield.
I
For a question? He
yield.
does.
Thank you. And Senator, did you know?
If you all would suspend, senators are complaining that they can't hear. I said can here. Senator from Spartanburg.
Thank you. Senator, did you know that I appreciate you bringing to attention what's been a long-standing issue in our state? I know a lot of it brought attention in 2012 when President Obama didn't have opposition, and this went on the other way around. So a lot of us have been fighting for closing our primaries, and we have a Senate Bill 389. I believe the senator from Pickens has filed that. I think I made a motion one time with the former senator from Anderson to get that bill out of committee so we could avoid these kind of problems and, identify as whichever party we wanted to. But did you also know that my wife and we just wanted some humor last night, so we turned on the national TV, and did you know that I don't think that you could pick the weakest candidate out of that bunch?
Senator from Anderson,
Well,
Senator Cash.
if I could respond to your question, and then we'll entertain the senator from Anderson. Senator, last night was a heated debate, and you have some philosophical differences within the Democratic Party. But I will reply to you as this. These were merit-based discussions. And your party, on the other hand, has been a circus for quite some time, with only one puppeteer leading the party. And everybody kowtows to this puppeteer. And so, with respect to the bill that you have pointed to, that will be totally up to the Judiciary Chair if he desires to set that bill. We should have a discussion, but to be clear, I am not for closing the process. I'm not for a closed primary process. My bill is very limited in scope, only because of the openness, the overt announcements by key officials openly in a choreographed message saying they seek to conspire to tinker or interfere with the results of a Democratic presidential primary. Thank you, Senator from Spartanburg.
Senator from Anderson, Senator Cash. What purpose do you rise?
See if the senator would yield for a question.
I yield.
Question he does.
Senator, did you know that I was inspired by your remarks the last time you got up on this subject? So much so that I went and put my name on Senator Rice's bill, which is S-389. But did you know if we had registration by party, that does not preclude somebody from changing their registration should they decide they want to participate in the other political party. So I don't know why it would be a problem, other than perhaps some people wanted to have it one way one time and one way another time. Did you know?
Well, I appreciate your position on that, and you've been pretty clear. My bill does not go that far. I think we have to address an immediate problem, and I've asked the Senate Judiciary Chair to act expeditiously. Let's have this debate. I'm open to debating your ideas, and so I welcome your input as well as anybody else in this body.
Senator from Newberry, Senator Comer, what purpose do you rise?
Since Senator yield for a quick question.
I yield.
Your 5
yield.
minutes is exhausted, so.
Senator, quick question for you. Did you know I'm probably going to support your bill because did you know that it happens both ways, Senator? And I have even been told that it happened in 2016 when we had the open and primaries on both sides, that it was already given that the Secretary Clinton had the nomination in hand, and some of the members of the Democratic Party said, let's switch over and vote in the Republican primary for Donald Trump because he's the weakest candidate. Senator, you remember how that turned out?
I think you were a little surprised how that turned out, too. But let me be clear. I have never, and now I hadn't been in public office long. I'm probably one of the newer senators, not the newest certainly. I don't intend to be here a long time. But since I've been here in 2014, I've never seen officials publicly announce that they are seeking to interfere. And I think that public announcement commands of us to look into. You know, our system of democracy
Senator
is
from
built,
Charleston.
and I'm going to conclude. Our system of democracy is built on active participation, not active interference by the opposition. And I think it's incumbent upon us all, if we want to preserve the system, that we be able to elect the strongest candidates of our respective parties. And when there is a conspiracy among key officials to hijack, whether Democrats or Republicans, it's wrong, and that's the intent of the bill. Thank you, Mr. President.